friends. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Is that true? Makes you wonder, what do we imitate? What's worth imitating? This is something that I started thinking of reading through 3 John, and verse 11 stood out to me. It says, "Dear friends, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. Anyone who does what is good is from God. Anyone who does what is evil has not seen God." So to say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, I think just means that it's a way to show appreciation. Now, admittedly, to imitate something also can be mistaken for appropriation instead of appreciation, which is where the imitator tries to usurp or replace the imitatee. It's basically original sin. Adam and Eve trying to be like God and usurp his sovereign control. I mean, on a side note, I do think a lot of what's called appropriation these days really is just appreciation. But that's not really what we're talking about here. To imitate something is to affirm that it is good, that the attribute or behavior being adopted is desirable. If I imitate a hairstyle, I see it's because I think it looks good. And to imitate a person is the expression of the desire to be like them. Students imitate their teachers so they can become like them and master the thing they're learning. Children imitate their parents so they can grow up to be like their parents, the ones who give them comfort and security. It makes me wonder, how careful should we be then in imitating what might be good attributes of people who might not be so good? I think we don't want to take this too far, be too careful. We kind of bump into the question that came up in my small group the other night. We were going through 1 Corinthians 11. Verse 1, Paul says, "Imitate me as I imitate Christ." Kind of makes you wonder, well, shouldn't we just directly imitate Christ in all things? Why not cut out the middleman? I think C.S. Lewis kind of has some insight on this. In one of his writings, he said that when learning, we often benefit more from the help of someone just a step or two ahead of us, rather than from the expert who doesn't remember what it's like to be a beginner. I think in imitating Jesus, we don't want to take that too far, though. It's not like he's ignorant or insensitive towards us and what level we're at. In some sense, he meets us there, and he's very patient. But I think Paul's just saying that we are to take encouragement from the example of those who imitate Christ, and maybe especially those of more mature faith. We see from them, from those who follow Jesus well, what is possible with perseverance in this race we all run. And if we try to walk in the footsteps of or keep in pace with the saints who run well, we gain companions who will sharpen us, benefit us, and helping us run that race well too. That is what we do. We imitate those who are good at the things we want to be good at. So for example, I don't think it's wrong then to imitate Jacob Collier in his musical style, or Roy Choi in his cooking. In those things, they are very good. And I want to be good at them too. And like I said earlier, it's a way to appreciate and affirm what's good, to recognize something done well. But unless they model their lives on Christ, I shouldn't model my lives on them necessarily. As a follower of Jesus, I know what I'm aiming for, and how I live should be a willing, responsive participation in God's work to make me holy and build his kingdom. So I might imitate Jacob Collier's musical style, but I don't need to imitate the way he dresses or the way he talks, just because he's not the one I'm trying to be like. In the formation of character, I want to imitate those who imitate Christ. That's not to knock Jacob's style. I actually think he seems like a pretty neat person, besides being a really amazing musician. But the point is, I have to be discerning and notice the limits of what's worth imitating. Always ask, is this good? Does this reflect the character of Christ? Does this person I am walking in step with run the race well? If so, then that's what we should imitate. Go in peace, walk in love.